To be appointed, state officials must be fluent in Ukrainian. The National Commission on State Language Standards will determine whether the level of knowledge is sufficient. Any deliberate distortion of the Ukrainian language in documents will be considered an administrative offence. The introduction of administrative liability will happen 3 years from now. And to impose a fine, first there needs to be a remark on a violation, then a warning and a systemic violation in the course of a year. And only after that, the offence will be filed with law enforcement. Fines will vary. For legal entities, it's around 5,000 hryvnias. For citizens willing to improve their Ukrainian language skills, the government is required to organise free language courses for adults. Those applying to become citizens of Ukraine will be required to pass a Ukrainian language test. The law says exceptions will be made for persons of special interest to the state, including foreigners being granted Ukrainian citizenship to serve in the armed forces. In such a case, they will be required to learn the language within 1 year of becoming a citizen.
Foreigners, just like in other countries, will have to get a Ukrainian language certificate with a range of levels. They will be required to demonstrate entry-level knowledge.
The law on the official status of the Ukrainian language stipulates that the language must be used on the whole territory of Ukraine by central and local government bodies, as well as in other areas. Ukrainian is obligatory for medical personnel, teachers and scientists. Ukrainian language must be used by judges, the military and law enforcement. The latter can communicate with persons who do not understand Ukrainian by switching to their native language or through an interpreter. Ukrainian is used in business documentation and correspondence, as well as by political parties and NGOs. Customer service in transport must be carried out in Ukrainian. This includes announcements and notices at bus stations, airports, sea and river ports. Their names must also be in Cyrillic, but can include a Latinized version. Service personnel are allowed to switch to the language of the client. Ukrainian will also become obligatory in retail. Labels must include full information about goods and services in Ukrainian. Additional other languages are permitted. Customer service can be carried out in any language acceptable to both the client and the service provider. National TV channels must have at least 90% of their content in Ukrainian. Magazines and newspapers can be published in different language versions, provided that one of them is Ukrainian. At least half of the books on offer at a given bookstore must be in Ukrainian. Stipulations regarding the use of state language do not extend to private communication or religious practice. Reported by Olha Mikhailuk for UATV.